you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence Pressman. That guy is Teddy Covers. I am sick as a dog, but still plowing through. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Teddy, who's on today?
Well, we have Kelly Stewart. Kelly in Vegas open up the show. She's going to talk about Liberty and BYU and some Pac-12 football as well. The UCLA game on tap against Oregon this week. Adam Trigger going to join us. He, too, is going to talk a little college football. LSU, Ole Miss, Syracuse, and Clemson. I'll do my big game breakdown on the NFL game tonight, Arizona and New Orleans. And, of course, we'll close out the show with Kyle Anthony talking UFC, all the big fights before this weekend. So, loaded show, as always, on Thursday.
Teddy, I'm excited. I'm wearing the 5% pants, dude. I haven't worn these things in ages. I got my first.
Okay, 5%. Stop. No crotch shots, dude. No crotch shots. That we can't be having that. Don't be.
You're the person that notices that.
Anyway. When you take your junk and stick it in the camera, yeah, dude. Oh. No, I never want to see that again.
You done?
Yes. Are you done?
Okay. I have my first 5% play in hockey. It goes tonight. Make sure to grab it. Sneeze on its way. Kelly Stewart, how are you?
Good morning, Prez. You look terrible. I'm proud of you, though. You know, when I had COVID, I didn't miss a day of work. So I expect the same from all the other WagerTalk employees. We work remote. Suck it up for an hour. And I'm proud of you for doing that because you look like hell.
I feel the same. But there's nothing I can do, man. And the thing is, Kelly, I want to do this show. I want the adrenaline. And what else am I going to do? Lie on the couch for the entire day? Anyway, let's get into it, man. Liberty on the road this week. They're playing they're at home. BYU -7 for BYU. Total of 58.5. How do we bet this game?
You know, I hate to go against Ralph Michaels and his nerd charts that he so kindly always makes me for bet on it. But I think this is just too many points here for the home dog with Hugh Freeze, who I did not realize this. So as you guys know, I follow a lot more Power 5 schools, right? These smaller schools tend to fall under the radar for me because I do believe we only have so many hours of the day. So when you're good at something, stick with it, use that. And this BYU team isn't independent, but I have been following them more this season, a couple plays on them, a couple plays against them, because they're going to be joining the Big 12. So excited to see this game go because BYU has not covered since I bet them against Baylor, and that took overtime to get the cover. Long story short, good friend Drew Martin Betts, as you guys all love him, know him here at WagerTalk, sent me a Hugh Freeze stat and said, KIV, are you looking at the Liberty Flames for your underdog parlay this week? He said Hugh Freeze is the second coming of Bill Snyder, 29-11 against the spread as an underdog head coach, and that dates back to his days at either Ole Miss or Arkansas State. Now, Ralph brought up this chart today on Bet On It about how 0-5 against the spread teams in their last, 5 games, however many, we start to see some regression. By all means, but I still do not think that this BYU offense is all that it's cracked up to be. They've had some okay wins, but for the most part, this Liberty team, if they get Charlie Brewer back, which I'm hearing they're going to, should be able to get the best of this BYU offense. The Flames have 18 takeaways on the season. That's right. They lead the FBS in defense. And I think that BYU's defense on the other side is going to get ran all over. That's what this Flames team does. So I'm taking the 7 and I'm sprinkling on the money line.
So 2 questions. One, I haven't heard anything that says Charlie Brewer's coming back this week. He's still showing out as out indefinitely on all the odds screens. The markets haven't pointed towards Brewer coming back. You got info that Brewer's coming back this week?
I've got info that says it's a 50-50 shot, Teddy, that he could be back this week. I think that's only a benefit, obviously, to this Liberty team. I'm not banking on this making this play. Right now, this line indicates he's not coming back. And now, by all means, I want to say last week I was told DeVito wasn't coming back for Illinois, and I kept him off my card. And you can bet I sent some not very nice text messages on Saturday afternoon. The same guy says it looks like Spencer Sanders is going to be a go for Oklahoma State. Listen, info is as best as you can get it, right? If you've got somebody within the organization, you've got somebody that has people in the organization, you got to take it with a grain of salt. So the Charlie Brewer news, by all means, yes, everything's saying he's going to be out. But sometimes if you can get ahead of that, you can definitely get the best of the number. I got the text last Monday about Will Levis being back. I got the 6.5 with Kentucky. While it didn't matter, it's far and few between, but I don't hold it to be the gospel, full disclosure, but it does sound like there is a slight possibility that Brewer will be back in the lineup for Liberty.
Right on.
Kelly
And so
Stewart,
it's a chance for Brewer, but we like it either way. I do have a second follow, really, because I just wanted to ask that. But the key follow here, BYU's strength is their size. All right, they're a massive team. They're all kids that have been on missions and been back. They're much older than your average college
football team.
Like
25 years old.
And when they play the group of 5 schools as opposed to the Power 5 schools, they tend to dominate those teams in the trenches. Those are the games that BYU gets the blowout wins. They faced a bunch of quality foes this year from Power 5 schools. They haven't really played the step down. I don't know if it's a step down in class, but it's a step down in size game against Liberty. Do you worry that BYU is going to maul that team in the trenches? Because that's my biggest concern about the Flames in this.
I absolutely think that the BYU's defense with their front 7 is going to be a concern of mine. But all season long, Teddy, they haven't been able to stop the run. And I do think that Hugh Freeze, losing his job at Ole Miss, has done a pretty good job here at Liberty. And I think he's going to have this team ready. It's not like he doesn't have the coaching experience against teams like this. And this is going to be a big game for Liberty. I hope that they can get the shot to win it outright. But I do think over a touchdown here on the road is a little egregious for a BYU team that has really kind of fallen on hard times, at least against the spread.
Egregious. Wow, that's an impressive word. Brian Leonard came on Monday with a adverb that made no sense, and now we got egregious in the middle of a sports betting show. Kel, UCLA +6 going into Oregon 71.5. Which side is egregious?
Yeah, I'm so mad at myself last weekend, guys. I liked Tennessee early on. Then we heard, Bryce Young was going to be back, and then it kind of turned into a square dog. And sometimes I let those things get to my head, and other times I don't. I do think that UCLA is going to be a square dog here. I don't know anybody that doesn't like them, but I must be missing something. I'm looking at all of the injury reports. I'm not seeing anything that indicates that Oregon should be a 6-point favorite at home. Bruins have the quarterback edge and DTR. We know this. They have the defensive edge. And that offense has a laundry list of weapons. You've got an Oregon defense that ranks 115th in passing, 85th in scoring, and 90th in yards per play allowed. Maybe I'm missing something here, full disclosure, but I'm going, what am I missing with this Oregon team? It looks like it's going to be an absolute shootout. And normally you could make a case and say, okay, if it's going to be a shootout, it's okay to lay over a touchdown. Touchdown wins the game. I'm not seeing that here. UCLA has definitely overachieved this year, in my opinion. I know that Adam Trigger was big on USC. He and I went back and forth on that. I was big on Utah with Marco D'Angelo. And I do think that maybe it was Joe Ranieri. There was somebody who was pretty high on this UCLA team. And I thought, hey, you're missing something here. But Chip Kelly has done a really solid job. I'm just not seeing it here with the Oregon Ducks blowing out anybody, especially not this UCLA offense.
So do you worry about the square dog in college football? I know a lot of bettors seem to be very concerned about the betting percentages and all this. And I find like in college football, the less attention I pay to that, the better off I do. In the NFL, contrarian plays, it has to be a piece of the process. In college football,
Teddy.
I understand that the square dogs, that the public likes, yeah, sometimes they don't cover, but they covered last week. Is that a concern here? Is it enough to keep you off the game?
No, absolutely. And that's where I'm kicking myself, because as somebody who's been doing this long enough, I shouldn't have let that influence my decision about the Vols. And I did. I kept looking at it going, I have not seen one person laying it with Alabama, not one pro, not one square, not one anyone. And I came on your show and said, I think that they're the square dog. And guess what? It looked like there for a second, Alabama could have got away with it and got the cover. A couple of calls went Tennessee's way. Next thing you know, they spring the upset. And next thing you know, I am just kicking myself in the ass. And I'm not going to do that this week. I'm not going to overthink this here. I would agree with you, Teddy. The square dog narrative is overblown, especially in the new market. And I call it a new market since basically the last 5 years. It's been federally legal. We see a ton more people in the betting space. We see percentages coming from one random sports book in New Jersey, and it's completely different than the same random sports book in Nevada. I think we're buying into this hype way too much, especially in college football. So I'm going to learn my lesson from last week and not pay attention to that.
Kel, those are some really good points, man. You are passionate today. I bet Tennessee. Just laying it out.
And our Trig, who's coming on next, our good friend Chris Thurston and Dave Koken even emailed it out, and I still allowed myself to overthink it. I'm done doing it. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. If the math adds up, the situation adds up, whatever it is, I don't care if the whole world's on it or against me. This is the play that I'm going to stick to, and that's how I feel about UCLA. I see everybody run into the window to bet this team, but I do not think Chip Kelly's team is going to go into Eugene and get blown out.
Unbelievable segment, Kelly. What do you got to promote?
Let's see. Both episodes of Bet On It are out. We did the hustle last night. Today I'm doing every game on the board with Drew Martin Bets. I'm doing college football videos after this with the legendary Dave Koken and Adam Trigger. I got money shots at 2 o'clock Eastern with Megan Making Money over on the Barstool YouTube page. I got a busy week. I got to finish up my parlay, but you guys got the first two legs. That would be Liberty and UCLA. I'm trying to find one more dog that I think can win outright. I thought maybe Cal could get it done. Boy, are they a bad football team, especially after just losing to Colorado. I think maybe the 7.5 is too many. I'm just not sure they can get the win. I wanted to take West Virginia. Marco D'Angelo's best bet is Texas Tech, so I had to look at that one just a little bit harder as well. So I'm going to find that third dog, get that video out for you guys, and hopefully have a really good weekend.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for coming on, Kelly Stewart, everyone. Teddy covers. I'm going to keep my stuff to a bare minimum. What did we learn in the wonderful world of sports betting last night?
I don't know. Yesterday was an incredible day for sports bettors. All right. With in many ways, at wall-to-wall action in the NBA and thrilling finals and Major League Baseball playoff comebacks. One that I'm still mad about the Phillies yesterday. I had Phillies first 5 innings. They're up 4-0 with their ace on the hill. They can't get the job done first 5, but we'll let that go for now. But last night's all about the NBA, and I didn't get to watch any of it. It's my wife's birthday. So what are you going to do? The good news is that I got to go to Amalfi last night, Bobby Flay's restaurant at Caesars. And I'm telling you what, maybe the best meal I've had in years. The best, maybe, And of course, I've known Bobby for about 20 years now. I met him through his business partner, Lawrence Kretschmer, who went to Michigan, is an alumni with me, and someone who I knew early on here in Vegas. And it's fun because you get to go to like opening events. When Shark opened, they had me come, and on Amalfi opened, you get to come for the opening night. And you sample everything, and it's so I had a great time last night. But when it's your wife's birthday, you got to do what she wants. So you're sitting there glancing at scores. You know how it is, glancing at scores. You don't want to be, yes, honey, glancing at scores. Luckily, I retired her out early. I got her home by 11. Was able to have a little bit of time to work before I went to bed. But the fresh fish grilled, the pasta rags, the salmon carpaccio, the shellfish Frito misto Prez. You would have loved that meal last night. It was as good a meal as I've had in years at Amalfi here in Las Vegas. A lot of fun with Bobby Flay and company down on the Strip in Las Vegas.
Well, as you know, I've eaten there twice, both times with you. The octopus blew my mind. That was the star of the night. And yeah, all of it's great. With that said, I am still a Mesa Grill man through and through. Talk.
There's no Mesa Grill in Las Vegas anymore.
I know.
So,
it's very depressing. Guys, let's get those likes up. Come on. 40 likes. I got 3 NHL bets to give you in the daily presidential address. We got to get those likes up. And Teddy, as I said at the top of the show, I have my first 5% play in hockey last night. I had a brutal hockey. It wasn't a loss. It was a push. I put Florida Panthers out -1 on the Asian line. They're up by 2. Philadelphia scores their third goal, 2.3 seconds left on the clock. Wasn't a loss, but very frustrating. And I was on Philadelphia as well. Adam Trigger.
So I had one last night.
Go ahead.
Oh, I had one that worked out perfectly. You know, the big game breakdown yesterday, we talked about Dallas. Plus, I had the under in the game for the clients. It's tied at 105 with 30 seconds left. You're like, anything but overtime, dude. Just somebody hit one shot. And Phoenix, with the contested fall-away jumper, the miss on the other end, ends 107-105, stays under. Dallas covers, no overtime. I had the optimal in-game scenario last night, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I did get to watch the last 2 minutes of that one while Kara was in the bathroom. So it was good. Good stuff, man. Sorry mine came
Adam
through
Trigger.
and yours didn't.
Let's bring Adam in. Let's get this show moving along. We got LSU, Ole Miss, Syracuse, Clemson. What's up, Trig?
What's going on, Prez? I heard Kelly in the last segment say the legendary Dave Koken and Adam Trigger. Do you think she meant that we're both legendary, or is that the legendary Dave Koken and also Adam Trigger? I'm guessing it was the latter.
Your adverb is your adjective is also. Yes. The also Adam Trigger.
So legend, just so you know, they started calling. I saw it happen with Kogan. I've seen it happen with me. The legendary starts to come after between 15 and 20 years in the business. So it'll come for you. Just stick around. It gets there. It's like an automatic thing. If you just last, they call you a legend within less than 20 years.
Yeah, and if you're me, Ad, they call you just the GOAT. Anyway.
Take the under.
LSU, Ole Miss. How we betting this game, brother?
Well, Prez, right off the top, LSU, 4% client play for me. So I wanted to give it out on the show. And I also want to note, I bet this before Butte was ruled out. So Keishon Butte looks like he's going to be out for this game. Believe it's paternity leave is why he's going to be out. The girl is having the baby. They're letting him go be with her. And that's, listen.
They're letting him go, are they?
Well, he chose to go. He chose to go. Whatever.
To the basement.
The point is, he's not going to play here, and it's significant, but it's not significant enough to put me off of LSU. I've said this in the past. Position players for the skill players for me tend to be a little bit replaceable. Now, Butte is an NFL caliber prospect. For LSU. With that being said, he's really only had a big time impact in one game this year for LSU, and that was last week against Florida, where he had like 6 catches for 115 yards. In Florida, they've thrown for more than LSU has thrown for more than 300 yards in 3 of their last 4 games. So do I love that he's out? No. Is it going to put me off for making a 4% play on LSU? No. I still like LSU. I gave it out -125, and you may want to wait and just see what happens to the number because it moved up. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets bought back a little because of that. As far as the rest of my handicap is concerned, Prez, there's only like a handful of teams that are in the power conferences that have played every single Saturday without a week off, and 2 of those teams are right here, but one of those teams will have a Week 10 bye. The only power conference team with a Week 10 bye that's played every single Saturday without a week off and without a long week is Ole Miss. They have to go to Texas A&M next week, and I think that makes this spot a little tougher here for Ole Miss than LSU, who knows they have a bye coming up and they're getting this game at home. Teddy, I went on his show earlier this year. Him and I had a nice talk about Brian Kelly. I said I think I like Brian Kelly's teams in their first year. I think he's done a great job at improving his teams quickly. And I think there's been some improvement with LSU here since the beginning of the season. I've had 4% plays on LSU the last 3 weeks. I missed against Tennessee, but LSU looked great against Florida last week, and they're in a nice revenge spot. They lost this game 31-17 in Oxford last year. I think Ole Miss is a little overrated as a 7-0 team. They've really played one tough game, in my opinion, and that was against Kentucky. So I'm willing to fade the slightly overvalued Ole Miss on the road. I like LSU to get it done.
So it's been all LSU money all week. Jaden Daniels, there were some concerns about his health, and it looks like he's going to be good enough to play. Have you heard anything about his status? Are you worried at all about him being banged up here? Because I guess, well, considering the Rebels defense, you don't mind having a banged up quarterback. If you're going to beat Ole Miss, you're going to have to do it by scoring because they're going to find a way to put the biscuit in the basket. But talk to me about Jaden Daniels this week.
Well, Teddy, I think Daniels is going to play, and I don't think that it's going to be I don't think his status is the issue here. What I'm really looking at is the one game that Ole Miss really just didn't light up the scoreboard, didn't move the ball, was against Kentucky, and they racked up a season low 399 yards on offense in that game. And also, if you go back to that game, they probably should have. I don't know if I want to say they should have lost, but they certainly could have lost because it took a goal line stand essentially to get that win. And if you look at their schedule, there's like no other comparable opponents really to LSU. You look at like their 2 road games are Georgia Tech and Vandy. Ole Miss has really not played the caliber of opponents that LSU has played this year. And they struggled with Kentucky, who's the one sort of comparable opponent. Here they have to go on the road at Baton Rouge. I'll roll with whoever's LSU is going to put out there, Teddy. I think Daniels is going to be fine. I don't think the Butte loss is a huge deal. I like LSU to win at home.
Adam Trigger, everyone, exclusive handicapper at WagerTalk.com. Adam, Syracuse is going into Clemson, and so are you. You're going to this game. Clemson minus 13.5, a total of 49.5. Side and total quite correlated there. Anyway, what do you like in this game?
Prez, this is a Prez move for me right here, right? Like just an impulse, like you needed to get one more dead show in, and you just booked like the Virginia concert. Like, we left the Dome last week, and we were like, you know what? Syracuse it's their first 6-0 start since the 80s. It's a big game, undefeated team versus undefeated team. So once Clemson won the game, we're like, whatever. We're going to go down for the night, go to the game. It's a noon game at Death Valley. I've never been there. I'm excited to go. Prez, I think both of these teams are in an unfavorable spot, to be perfectly honest with you. Clemson, as they've also had yet to have a week off. They've played every single Saturday since the first week of the season. And they've covered the last few weeks in a row, albeit like last week, I don't know if it was a really convincing cover. They were outgained by Florida State substantially in that game. And Syracuse keeps winning. So you have to look at Syracuse and say they're probably a little overvalued at this point because they keep winning and covering. But in this case, I think this is too many points. I look towards Syracuse. I think it's telling that this hasn't gone to 14 yet. I think Syracuse can. I just don't like the spot for Clemson, who might take this game a little lightly. They've won 37 straight games at home. They're on kind of a roll right now. But if you go back a couple weeks, they were on the ropes against Wake Forest. I think they're going to be a little bit vulnerable here at home. You look at the series between these two teams. Syracuse has been extremely competitive in this series, pulled the upset in 2017. Last year, they missed a game-winning field goal that would have tied this game. And Prez, I just don't have Clemson up in that like national championship type level this year. I think they're the best team in the ACC, but I think they're a step down from some of the other top 5 teams. Syracuse their defense has been solid, 6th in the country coming into this game. They have yet to allow 30 points in the game. I think they're going to hang around long enough to get the cover here, guys.
So I did Drew Martin's Every Game on the Board podcast yesterday. I made a case for the under in this ball game, Adam. Certainly when you look at the series history, it's been a whole lot of unders between these two. 17-14 last year. And the Syracuse defense has impressed the heck out of me all season long. But offensively, can Syracuse move the ball against Clemson? Is that going to happen, or is Clemson just going to blow up the line of scrimmage and Syracuse is going to be lucky to get a touchdown? Because that's my biggest concern about the orange side here is if they can actually move the football at all in this matchup. They don't have weapons on the outside. They're going to have to do it between the trenches, and good luck doing that against Clemson. Talk to me about how you see Syracuse moving the football.
So, outside of Gadsden, they're not going to have weapons throwing the ball all over Clemson, but they can run it. I mean, they've shown the ability to run the ball so far this year. Not super consistently, not every single week, but the rushing attack has been serviceable. And as far as your under is concerned, the timing of this game being at noon, I think favors the under a little bit. It's one of those early kickoffs, and Clemson, knowing they have the bye coming up, they've had to play Wake Forest, NC State, Florida State. They've really had sort of a grueling stretch the last month or so, and they have to feel like they should win this game. I wonder how fired up Clemson's going to come in for this game, knowing they're a 2-touchdown favorite, and they haven't lost at home in a long time.
Adam, let me jump in real quick because Syracuse is 6-0, and they played them within a field goal last year. You really think they're going to look past Syracuse this week? That it's a complete flat spot? A team that gave them a battle and a half year ago and hasn't lost a game?
I don't think they're going to look past Syracuse, Teddy, but you get to the point where it's this happens in the NFL, where you have one of those late bye weeks. These kids have played week in and week out, and they know the week off is coming up. It's easy to anticipate that instead of really be super focused with what's going on the field. And there's only a handful of power conference teams that fall into that subset this week, and Clemson's one of them. So it's more as it pertains to the point spread and just how explosive Clemson will be. Will Clemson win? Probably. Are they going to is it going to be 41-6 like it was a couple of years ago? I don't think so. I actually think that last year's 17-14 game is probably more reflective of the type of game we'll see on Saturday.
Adam Trigger, awesome job, and way to deal with Teddy. And Teddy, thanks for doing all the heavy lifting today, because literally every time I'm off air, I am sneezing and coughing my lungs out.
Beautiful. You just sit there and look beautiful, Prez. I'll handle the show. Adam, what do you have to promote?
Anthony wishes he had one of those, hey? Anyway, Adam Trigger, what do you got to promote?
So I'm 4-0 on 5% college football plays this year, and I've got my 5th one going on Saturday. I've been on a nice college football one since week 1, really. 5-1 in my last 6 plays. Nice winning week last week. And I've got a 4%er that goes tonight. And I also gave you another 4%er in LSU for free. And I'll probably add another 1 or 2 as the days go on. So nice college football card. We'll be putting NFL up as well over the next day or so.
Awesome stuff. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're right back with Teddy's Big Game Breakdown. And, of course, Kyle Anthony, some UFC talk.
Marco D'Angelo is like a fine wine as he just gets better with age. Since 1980, Marco has been one of the industry's leading handicappers, and this year is no different. Marco is currently the #1 handicapper at WagerTalk this season in college football in both winning percentages and money won, sitting at 27-15 for a net profit of 29 units. The rest of the college football season, including all the college football games, is $4.99. Last year, Marco was 13-4 in bowl games and for a net profit of 34 units. For a limited time, you can take $50 off that price when you use coupon code CFB50, making your final cost just $3.99. And for the first 10 who sign up, we have a free bonus, a $299 value, comping you a 30-day all-access subscription that will include all of Marco's NFL, NBA, and NHL plays for free. Why do you want to bet with Marco in October? Last October, Marco was #1 in the NFL at WagerTalk. His NFL plays went 14-7-2, netting 23 units. His NHL plays went 4-0, he was up 8 units, and his NBA plays went 3-1, up 4 units. You'll want to hurry, this is a limited time offer.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk a little Thursday night NFL football. The Saints and the Cardinals. New Orleans traveling to Arizona. Right now, look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. It's been all Arizona money overnight. There were 2s last night. Now it's 2.5, even 2.5 with juice for Arizona. Total's been bet down a little bit. 44s last night are looking at 43.5s right now. I'm not playing the side here. I can't lay with must-win Arizona, who's lost 8 straight at home. Not doing it. And if you've been listening to previous big game breakdowns for Thursday Night Football, you know I'm not playing the first-year head coaches with travel like Dennis Allen. It's an almost auto bet against. So don't trust either side in this ballgame. But from a total standpoint, look, we've seen back-to-back really, really ugly Thursday night games. The Commanders and the Bears, the Colts and the Broncos, between them didn't get over the total, 12-9 and 12-7. This game ain't going to be like that. All right. Jameis looks like he's back for New Orleans. Olave, too, which gives him a downfield weapon. And even when they weren't throwing downfield with Dalton last week, that Hill-Kamara offense has been ripping off big gainers on the ground. I think that offense is going to work this week. All right. And, of course, New Orleans has been a monster over team of late. 28-25 versus Minnesota, 39-32 versus Seattle, 30-26 versus Cincinnati. Seattle goes home and shuts everyone down and stays way under. Cincinnati been playing under and shutting teams down. Minnesota played under again last week. So all these games versus New Orleans shootouts, they play other opponents not so much. All right. Saints have both these teams have big issues in the secondary. Saints aren't going to have Marshawn Lattimore tonight. They're really banged up in the secondary. And, of course, Arizona gets DeAndre Hopkins and Robbie Anderson to go along with Zach Ertz and Rondell Moore. Look, I don't expect miracles from the Cardinals here. This is an offense. They lost their leading receiver. They have multiple key offensive line injuries. This is not a game where I'm thinking it's going to be a crazy shootout, but the kicker injury for Arizona works in our favor as well. Without Prater, we had all kinds of kicking issues. That means more likely to go for it on 4th down. When you go for it on 4th down, that tends to help over bettors. You put it all together. Are we going to see 44 points in this game or more? I think we will. OVER, take the over on Thursday Night Football. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers. Great take, man. Teddy, I'm staying at the Westgate last week. I swear to you, there was a girl with running makeup, like she had makeup running down her face, standing by Starbucks with a sign. Where is Kyle Anthony? Well, we know where he's here now. We have him on the show. Kyle, what do you... Jesus, dude. Like, there was a girl with a sign.
Listen, for the record, I was not in Las Vegas. Last time I was, it was a long time ago, hanging out with you guys. So that wasn't me. That wasn't me this weekend.
It was the... Dude, she had a Miss Montana patch. And she's like walking around going, where is Kyle Anthony? With a sign. I'm like, woman, that was a month ago. Get over it. They can't even get over you, right?
It's a tough life, Prez. It's a tough life.
Once you have Kyle, you never get rid of the smile. Okay, dude, UFC, Islam Makhachev Havamashev against Charles Oliveira. I said that terribly. But anyway, Charles is the big name that everyone knows, but he's plus 150. How do we bet this fight?
Well, the first thing here with this fight that I think is the most interesting thing is the fact that this is the first time that the UFC has had a title fight with 2 fighters streaking on wins 10 or more, which I think is absolutely interesting because that's very rare in the fight business to win that many in a row. But also the fact that Islam Makhachev is the protege of Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now that is already something that already gets people going with just that alone. And then you add in the fact that Charles Oliveira, has the most submission victories in the history of the UFC. So positionally, grappling-wise, this is going to be extremely interesting when you take a look at it. Now, you've got kind of this chess match going on with Islam Makhachev, who likes top pressure, likes to really kind of bulldoze you, will chain together takedowns, will be relentless with those takedowns, and want top position or look for those submission victories. But on the other side here, you've got Oliveira, who loves to be on his back, who is extremely comfortable being on his back, and he has probably the highest Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu we could get in the UFC. So this takes away a big comfort level for Makhachev. Makhachev is a guy that, like I say, he's going to bulldoze you, and he's going to want to get that top control. Now, a lot of times in the past, you did have Oliveira. He's trying to pull guard. He's just trying to get any way he could get his opponent down because he never really had that striking. He's elevating the striking, but now he's never really had that. This takes away absolutely a comfort zone for Islam Makhachev. And how long could Islam really keep him down for? Does he want to be in that guard that long? I don't really think so. And if you take a look at their striking now, so the grappling is a little bit iffy for Makhachev where he loves to be. Now if they stand, they are way different. Oliveira has elevated his striking absurdly at a high level where he's the kind of guy now that is comfortable on the feet, that is way more, more versatile striking than someone like Makhachev, who is basic, uses striking to cut distance, doesn't really do much else besides that. He is a gorilla once he gets on you, but that's a little bit different. Now, the two biggest things I think that come into this fight is going to be the fact that Oliveira will freely and comfortably move forward. Now, a lot of people who face Makhachev, they're worried about the takedown. They're worried about what's coming back at them. They're trying to keep distance. That's not going to be the case for Oliveira. He's going to be able to move forward, use his striking, have way better striking, and be able to kind of walk him down and keep the wrestler on his back foot. That's always a key part when you're talking about styles, keeping the wrestler on his back foot. He can't drive forward. He can't look for those takedowns, and it kind of allows Oliveira to dictate the pace of the fight. And the second part that I feel that no one's talking about is the power that Oliveira has. People, kind of want to say, hey, he's just kind of keeping the striking going. Hey, he's starting to elevate some of his grappling. But his power has really translated well as he's elevating his striking. I mean, we saw you got Justin Gaethje, who you could throw a brick at his face. He will still move forward. And he was able to rock him early, drop him multiple times, find the finish in the first round, knocking down Michael Chandler. These are two heavy hitters and guys that are good striking, good standing. No one wants to go wrestle with him. And also on the top of that, you had 3-inch reach advantage for Oliveira as well. So everything is starting to point that way. And lastly, you look at the fact of competition level. I mean, competition level Charles Oliveira has faced killers for most of his life. Pretty much killers most of his life. Even recently, the elite level guys. Islam Makhachev has faced one ranked fighter ever in the UFC. So not, maybe some people were scared of him, maybe some people didn't want to fight him, but he has not faced that caliber of fighters. And you look at the fact that the one guy that he beat that is a ranked fighter was Dan Hooker, who's 1-4 out of his last 5. So this is not a high-level guy. This is a guy that's kind of, declining now. And the last 6 bouts for Islam, 3 of those were short notice fights. So these guys weren't preparing for the gorilla that is Islam. It really just all doesn't really add up here. I think this number is off. I think absolutely Oliveira is the right side betting wise. The number has been coming in, but I think this is more of like a pick'em to possibly slight favorite for Oliveira. So I love the plus money here. I think he goes out there and Charles Oliveira gets the victory.
Kyle Anthony says, take a look at Charles Oliveira at the nice plus price in the main event at UFC 280 on Saturday night in Dubai. Let's talk about one of the fights on the undercard. Nikita Krylov versus Volkan Oezdemir. I don't know if I got that one right, but I'm going to try it. Krylov about anywhere from -170 to -180 favorite. Take back on Oezdemir. Maybe plus 145-ish. How do you want to attack this fight?
Yeah, so this one here is another stylistic situation that you want to break down. And when you look at it, you got Oezdemir, who is powerful guy, looking to set up his big shots, wants to walk forward, cut distance, utilize his boxing, and pretty much that's the way he's going to go. And the issue for him really is he's a slow plodding kind of guy. He's slow moving. He kind of moves forward very slow, looking to just really dig in and throw the big shot. Now, Krylov on the other side, he's a little bit more light-footed. He's going to be light-footed. He's going to look to bounce in and out, throw the shots, bounce in and out, throw the shots, utilize his jab, has a great jab that really sets up his offense. And he's not a kind of guy that gets pulled into brawls. He's not a guy that's really where Oezdemir wants. Oezdemir wants to be in a brawl. He wants to be standing and banging and throwing. And I think that's not really what Krylov is going to be looking to do. Also, he loves to throw leg kicks. I think the leg kicks are going to be wide open for Krylov early. It's going to slow the movement down even more for Volkan. And as well as that, it's going to drain some of his power. And you add up the movement and the quicker hand speed, that already starts putting you over to the Krylov side. But then you start adding in the fact that the forward pressure that Ozdemir does have, there's going to be takedown opportunities absolutely for Nikita Krylov. I think that not only, now you've got somebody like we were just talking about Islam, where he looks for the takedowns and he wants to keep that top pressure. Like Krylov is just looking for you to work. It's a change of pace. It's a level change. It's not having you just kind of worry about the striking. I think that is really where he starts to find success. And the more that you do that, the more it opens up some of the offensive attacks. That's how you're going to start to land the big shots. And again, it's going to drain some of his power. It's going to drain some of Volkan's movement. And I think that's really going to help him overall. And if you also look at really the fact of like how Krylov has won. I mean, he's not a kind of guy that goes out there and is sparking guys out or is submitting people left and right. He doesn't really do that. I think in this situation, he has to play a little bit more cautious, knowing that there is power. And lastly, on that power part, I mean, Volkan does have power, but he has knocked out two guys. Well, really where he got the Volkan no-time Ozdemir was he knocked out back-to-back guys in 2017, and he knocked out Jimmy Manawa and Misha Serkinov. Both of those guys are on the Mount Rushmore of glass chins. They are the worst chins you could possibly find, and his knockout before that was 2019. So I just think that there's a lot of that is being overstated. So the way I look at this is I like Nikita in points, not inside the distance. I like Nikita via points. I think he stays on the outside, uses his footwork, does not get in a brawl, and works takedowns and positionally wins rounds. So Krylov right now you're looking at is around the plus 250 mark, right around there right now. I think it's a great price for the probably the most likely path that's going to happen. He's probably not going to be knocking out Volkan and probably not going to be submitting him. So I love that big plus money on that.
Kyle Anthony, Kyle, breathe.
I have too much in here.
Jesus
I have too much
Christ,
in here. I got a lot
Kyle.
to say, Prez.
Oh my God. I mean, that was okay.
I give you even worse of a headache now. I give you even worse of a headache.
You're going to go have a nap after that performance, right? that exhausted you. Anyway,
No, I'm good. I'm ready for the next one. Inside the Distance, 5 o'clock. Check it out.
So that's what I wanted to ask you. Tell us about the new show.
Yeah, no, it's me, Matt, and Andy. We got a good show going on there where we pretty much are breaking down all different fights, but we're also hitting it at different angles and kind of more having a conversation about these fights and ways to bet them, and then also stylistically what you want to look at, per fight. So it's been great stuff. We just kind of started a couple episodes, but it's good stuff. A lot of good information there.
Excellent. What do you got to promote?
This weekend, I do have a 5% best bet. Over the last 18 months, best bet is 63%. Very limited on how many these 5% spots that I find, but definitely found one. Love the price, and big card this weekend, so I'm excited about it.
Excellent stuff. Kyle Anthony, everyone, now get out of here. Go breathe. Do something. Teddy, that was like the Mount Rushmore of not taking a breath. Anyway, I'm exhausted. Like, honestly, that freaking exhausted me.
Well, you better rest up.
Yeah, go ahead, Teddy.
You gotta rest up, Prez, because it's time for your presidential address.
What a show. If you guys missed Wager Talk today, check it out. Kelly Stewart, Adam Trigger, Kyle Anthony. We talk a lot of college football, and Kyle breaks apart a couple of UFC fights. I got 3 bets for you guys for today's show, and I just want to quickly mention my first 5% play in NHL is tonight. My first 5% play of the hockey season goes tonight. I also have 2 baseball plays up. I've started the hockey season 6-2. I'm even winning all my free bets in hockey. I'm just seeing it right. Head over to WagerTalk, grab my 5% main event. And yes, I am sick as a dog. Okay, 3 bets tonight. Boston Bruins in regulation. Edmonton Oilers to beat the undefeated Carolina Hurricanes at -111. And the Ottawa Senators and Washington Capitals over the total of 6.5. That's Boston in regulation, Edmonton Oilers on the money line, and the over in the Ottawa-Washington game. Teddy, my brother, I'm binge-watching Star Wars all day from the couch. It's Empire Strike Back Day. I'm sick, and I'm going. Take us home, bro.
Hey, thanks for toughing it out, Lawrence. We appreciate your time and effort and energy. I'm sure you're exhausted, but you guys aren't exhausted. You're ready for a whole day of programming right here on WagerTalk TV. Stay tuned on this channel all day long for quality programming across sports. And, of course, if you like this show, we'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.